Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we are talking about my favorite luxury beauty products from the month of April. But before we go any further, let's take a second to grab our iced coffee or a hot coffee. Let's take a sip and let's get started. I, for one, cannot believe that April went by so fast and yet so slow. I thought that March felt like Smarch, but truly April has been quite a year. Most of my beauty products that I will be talking about are not new. I have a few new items, but most of them are part of my regular collection that I've just fallen in love with again, because I have in fact ordered quite a bit of new makeup from Sephora. But last time I checked the tracking number, it was still stuck between Narnia and Middle Earth, so I'm not sure when I will be getting my packages from them. So let's dive into some of my favorites from the year of April. So first up are a couple makeup brushes. So the first one is this Kabuki brush that I picked up when I picked up the cream bronzer, the new one from Chanel. And I've been using this to apply the bronzer as well as face powders. And I just really love this brush. I find it to be so incredibly soft. It feels so silky smooth when you apply it on the skin. And I find that it diffuses bronzer so well. And it also just really applies a face powder very beautifully. I find that it just gives everything a nice velvety finish. I really like this. I haven't fallen in love with a makeup brush in a long time, but this one here I'm really loving. So next up is the foundation brush number 100. So this is just your average basic foundation brush shape. And it has been a long time since I've actually used a foundation brush. I have been a huge fan of the makeup sponge for years now. I was really pleasantly surprised with how much I like this. I find that this gives a really nice, beautiful finish to the skin. I find that I end up using less product with this because you really just need a little bit to just kind of buff out and diffuse a bit of color. And I think that the main trick is to not pick up too much product, because I think if you put too much product on the brush here, that is when you run the risk of looking streaky. But as long as you use a little bit at a time, it really gives a nice finish. I'm realizing right now that my selection for the month of April is very Chanel heavy, but I guess a leopard, it does not change its spots, so it seems on brand for me. So next up is their new cream bronzer. Now I know this is a very polemical item, it's very controversial. I have done an entire dedicated video to a review of this, the ingredients, the controversy, etc. So if you want to watch that, I'll put a link to that down below. If you would like to see the full thorough review, please go watch that video. But I'm just here to say I really like it, and since I've gotten it, I have not been tempted to use a different bronzer. I just keep wanting to use this one because I find the finish is just so beautiful and velvety. It's also beautiful as an all-over face product. You have to go very lightly because you don't want to use a bronzer everywhere. But if you just want to add a little bit of glow, it's really pretty. And I don't know, I've drunk the cream bronzer Kool-Aid and there's no going back right now. I feel like having such great success with this cream bronzer has made me realize that there's a whole world of possibilities when it comes to bronzers. I'm really interested in trying other gel texture or cream texture bronzers now. Okay, so next up is definitely an older favorite. This is the Chanel 9 Shadow Palette Quintessence. This came out 2 springs ago, I believe. So recently, Michelle Wong and I did a video where we ranked every single one of our Chanel eyeshadow palettes, and this was my favorite because I just love the color and textures of these shadows here. And it just made me realize how much I need to use this more, and I've definitely been using it a lot more than I have in the past, so it's kind of just crept its way back up on the top of the list for me. I feel like doing that video was great to just reinvigorate how much I love this palette, because I really do. And I think now that it's getting warmer out, I think it'd be fun to create some fun looks with the greens and the blues. So yeah, that's why it's here in today's video. So next up is our last item from Chanel, and it is a big fat dud. This is the Crayon Sourcils number 40 Brun Cendré. This is the sculpting eyebrow pencil, and the reason that it's on the bottom list here is because it is broken. So the end that has the spoolie has completely detached from the actual product here. I have owned this for less than 1 month and it's already broken. So every morning I have to take my tweezers and pluck out the spoolie from the cap because it's just wedged in here. There we go. It's just, I don't know, it's completely unglued 100%. You know, I have to say that pulling out a spoolie with a tweezer every morning does not exactly scream luxury to me. Next up, we have an item here from Dior. This is the Lip Glow Oil in Cherry. Now, I feel like I've talked about this quite a bit on my channel this spring, but that's just because it's really great. It's a lip oil, so it's not the lip maximizer, it's not a lip gloss, it truly is a nourishing lip oil. It comes in this really wide doe foot applicator that really just curves and hugs your lips completely. You get all the product you need out of just one pump. You don't have to keep reapplying. And what I like about these is that they have a nice pigment to them. So when you apply this on your bare lips, you will get a stain throughout the day. So I picked a cherry color. So this is the color that I get when I keep reapplying, but they have like 5 or 6 different colors. So if you want something more nude, they have more nude colors too. I find that this stays on the lips much longer than the traditional lip maximizers, and it's much more hydrating. Like the lip maximizer is there to help plump the lips apparently, but this here really just helps nourish and hydrate, and it's just so comfortable to wear all day. I think it's great. I can't get enough of it. Okay, so next up is another item here from Dior. This is the Face Glow palette. This is the first one that came out in the Backstage collection. This is a highlighting palette. And I've owned this for a few years, but I've only recently rediscovered it and how wonderful it is. Specifically the golden highlighter shade. I find this to be so beautiful. It always just looks like glass skin. It kind of just melts into the skin and just makes you look so luminous and highlighted. It doesn't sit on top of the skin. It really just melts into whatever makeup you have on and just looks so luminous and beautiful. I love that this palette offers you a cool and warm toned highlighter. And then on the bottom, these are blushes, but they can also double as eyeshadows, which I've done in the past. I find that this one here is a little bit dark for me, but I can go ahead and use this pink shade here just to add a bit of brightness too. And it's just a really great highlighting palette. And also the Backstage collection is at a more affordable price point than the traditional Dior highlighters. So if you're looking for more bang for your buck, this is where it's at. So next up for another old favorite rediscovery is the Dior Joy Eau de Parfum perfume. I would call this a floral fresh fragrance. It does have a little bit of citrus, but not in a astringent fashion. It's not very lemony. It's more of a bergamot and maybe a little bit of lime or mandarin scent. And there's a lot of florals in here. You get a lot of jasmine and rose, but also with maybe a bit of peach or nectarine. It's just a very fresh floral perfume without being too heavy. I think this smells very clean, very nice, just very lovely. And it does make me think of spring because of how light and airy it feels. It doesn't feel like a heavy floral fragrance. It just feels very nice and light. And I was checking online to see if they have this available as a perfume for your hair, because I think this would be fantastic for it because it does have that fresh, floral, clean aspect to it. They don't have a hair mist right away. They do have like body lotions, shower gel, etc. But I would love to see a hair mist in this version because I think it would just fit so well. So last up, we have a hand cream. This is from L'Occitane en Provence, and this is their hand cream with 20% shea butter. So it goes without saying that these times we are washing our hands much more, disinfecting much more. So it's kind of nice to have a very thick and nourishing hand cream on the side here. I've had this for maybe a month or so, and it just feels so nice and nourishing. A little bit goes a long way, and it's just a really lovely hand cream. It's a nice size, so I can keep it on my desk here and reapply throughout the day without having it be really bulky and take up too much space. And if I'm not mistaken, they do offer different fragrances and also different packaging, but if you're just looking for a really good nourishing hand cream, I can say that the L'Occitane en Provence hand creams are definitely worth it. I think it's one of those items that has a bit of cult status. We've all heard a lot about this brand and their hand creams, totally worth it. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. These are my top picks or favorites from the month of April. Let me know what were some of yours. Were there any items here that were some of your favorites or even least favorites? Let me know down in the comments. If you guys are new to my channel, I talk about nothing but luxury beauty, and when I get a new collection, I will create several different looks with the same items. That way you guys at home really get a sense on how to use up all of your makeup. And I've also started a new series called Beauty History, where I dive into the history and legacy of different fashion houses and also makeup brands. So if that sounds interesting to you, please make sure to like, comment, and also subscribe. Every time you leave a like or a comment on a video, that definitely helps my channel grow, and also subscribing also helps as well. So feel free to do that to encourage me here on YouTube. Okay, I think this is all I have for you guys for today. So thank you all so much for stopping by. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.